sisters, my name's Bob Ryder. I'm with the Chicago Federation of Labor. Our president, Jorge Ramirez, and our executive board, we represent 300 unions that represent 500,000 working men and women here in the city of Chicago. But more than that, we fight for the organized and the unorganized workers in this city. Are you ready to fight back? Yeah! Because it's not unlike the 1800s and the 1890s when here in this city we made history every time we took to the streets. May Day remembers that. May Day remembers when Engels, Parsons, Fisher, and all the Haymarket martyrs that gave their lives, whether it be by the gallows or whether they gave it up in the streets, fought for an 8-hour workday, fought to get kids out of factories, and fought for dignity in the workplace. And that's what we fight for every day, right? So people say to me, Happy May Day. And some folks are, what's so happy about it? People died for fighting for their rights right in this very spot. That's what this statue symbolizes. But it is happy. And here's why, because we celebrate their lives and we celebrate this movement, we celebrate what we're all about. And we partner with community organizations and with the Illinois Labor History Society to do this event every year. And we're going to keep doing it for 100 more years and 100 more years after that. So right now I'd like to bring up my very good friend, a labor activist through and through, president of the Illinois Labor History Society, Larry Spivak.
Thank you, Bob. That's right. It's May Day. That's why we chant. That's why we're here every year since 2005. In 2005, we started the first celebration here in Haymarket Square with the new statue. And if you look around the base of this statue, you'll see plaques from Mexico, from Japan, from Germany, from Sweden, from Colombia, from New Zealand, Canada, the AFL-CIO, the Chicago Federation of Labor, Uni International, and others. This year, we are dedicating a plaque from our friends from the KMU, the Philippines, who I will introduce in a few moments. We do this because we remember. We remember Albert Parsons saying, "Let the voice of the people be heard." We remember August B. saying, "The day will come when our silence will be greater than the voices you throttle today." 2 years ago, let me get this, the plaque there, this one. 2 years ago, the World Federation of Trade Unions dedicated this plaque, which will soon be installed. Last year, we had Hakish from Turkey. Why do we do this? International labor solidarity. In that spirit, I want to introduce somebody special, a guest of ours today, Mong Palatino, who served 2 terms in the Philippine House of Representatives representing the youth sector. He was a union organizer for Kilswang Maya Uno, May 1st Movement, the name of their labor federation, May 1st Movement. He is currently chairman of the Metro Manila chapter of Bagang Alashang Makabayan, the New Patriotic Alliance. He is here in the United States as part of the Stop the Killing speaking tour to raise awareness about the deteriorating human rights situation in the Philippines. Can I have this? Mong? There you are. This is a representation of the plaque that will soon be installed. And we thank you for committing the Philippines to this international solidarity effort here at the birth of May Day. Thank you very much.
Salute to the working class of the United States. Salute to all working peoples of the world. Mabuhay! It is an honor to represent the Kilusang Mayo Uno, or May 1st movement from the Philippines. Today, we honor the Haymarket workers whose martyrdom did not only pave the way for labor reforms, but more importantly, it empowered and inspired the growth of the labor movement all over the world. So powerful was the legacy of May 1 that it eventually became the International Workers' Day. The Philippine labor movement acknowledged the heroism of the Haymarket martyrs when its largest and most militant labor federation chose the name Kilusang Mayo Uno, or May 1st movement, to unite all workers in the Philippines and lead the struggle of the working class. KMU was established to unite Filipino workers at a time when the country was under a dictatorship. KMU led the workers in resisting tyranny and joined the ranks of the farmers, the urban poor, and other freedom-loving Filipinos in ousting a dictator from power. Since then, the KMU has been at the forefront of the labor movement, and it has consistently and bravely asserted, without compromise, the just demand of workers for higher wages, decent work, safe workplaces, and it has been a strong voice in pushing for democratic rights, an end to feudal oppression in the rural regions of the Philippines. The resistance against foreign control of the local economy and the realization of the people's national democratic aspirations. The KMU is the leading force in the people's struggle for real democracy and lasting peace in the Philippines. And so, my dear comrades, it is fitting that as we place a KMU marker here in Chicago, we dedicate this in honor of all who devoted the best years of their lives. Many of them even sacrificed their lives in pursuing the revolutionary struggle for real democracy. This plaque is also for the Filipino migrant farmers who arrived here in the U.S. in the early 20th century. Some of them would become pioneers in union organizing. Their work is remembered today as we continue to fight for immigrant rights and the improvement of conditions of all migrant workers in the United States. This is for the assembly workers in the Philippines export processing zones who are toiling in sweatshop conditions, the plantation workers of Mindanao who are herded in militarized camps, the service sector employees denied of benefits, migrant workers who are forced to be separated from their families because of poverty, underdevelopment, and unjust immigration policies. This is for all the working classes who do not surrender and who continue to march forward to fight for real change. This is for the labor organizers in the Philippines who are fighting a rising dictatorship amid relentless attacks by state forces. Some of them are in prison, yet the only crime they committed was to promote the welfare of workers. In response, we proudly assert, union organizing is not a crime. Empowering the grassroots is not a crime. Standing up for migrant rights is not a crime. The real criminal act is the exploitation of the working class, the greedy appropriation of profits and surplus value while workers are subjected to slave-like relations, and the collusion of big capitalists with corrupt politicians in violating labor rights. KMU stands in solidarity with the American working class in challenging the neoliberal economic policies
that drive down wages, destroy unions, and harm the health and well-being of workers. KMU joins all workers in the world in smashing this inhumane system that perpetuates oppression and inequality. And lastly, the capitalists have money. They have the police, the courts, and dirty politicians. But the workers are stronger because we have unity, we have solidarity, and the peoples of the world are one with us in building a better future and a beautiful tomorrow where there is real peace, justice, democracy, and respect for human dignity. Long live the working class! Mabuhay ang uring manggagawa!
Let me see your signs. Brothers and sisters, the brother from the Philippines made a very important point. We have a corporatist who's the governor of the state of Illinois. Do we like him? No! He's an exploiter of the working class. He was from the day he got out of college to the day he got to the governor's office, and we're going to take him out come this November, right? Brothers and sisters, when we do this, we don't just stand in solidarity, as I said, with our brothers and sisters from the labor movement. Also, the brothers and sisters from the low-wage worker campaigns. And right now, we know about the Fight for 15, the McDonald's workers, the people fighting for $15 in a union. They deserve $15 in a union, don't they? Our next speakers come from the McDonald's campaign. We have Adriana Sanchez and Teresa Cervantes. Let's hear it for them, come on!
Hola, buenas tardes a todos, compañeros. Estamos aquí celebrando el primer día del trabajo nacional, internacional, y estamos aquí en conmemoración del día. Mi nombre es Teresa Cervantes, soy trabajadora de comida rápida en McDonald's por 20 años.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Adriana, trabajadora de McDonald's, comida rápida, por 16 años.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Labor Day, May Day for everybody, for workers all over the world. My name is Teresa Cervantes. I've been with McDonald's for 20 years, and Adriana Sanchez for 16 years. Soy parte de esta lucha por 15. Los trabajadores de comida rápida trabajamos duro y merecemos salario digno y derechos sindicales. I'm sorry. Part of Fight for 15 campaign, we are here because we deserve $15 an hour and unions' rights.
Al igual que los trabajadores que murieron aquí, luchando por 8 horas de trabajo, así seguiré yo continuando por esta pelea.
As they say, the workers died here many years ago fighting to have 8 hours per day. I'll be here standing until we get our union right and $15 per hour. No importa dónde trabajemos, todos merecemos que nos paguen de la misma justa y nos traten con respeto y trabajar con nuestra cabeza en alto y con dignidad. No matter where we work, we deserve to be treated with dignity, with respect, and have our heads up and make our a living wage, a decent wages.
Estamos aquí por nuestros derechos, derechos de un salario justo, derechos para una reforma migratoria, derechos por justicia racial, justicia económica y justicia de inmigrantes.
We are here because we deserve union rights, we deserve decent wages, we deserve union rights, we deserve immigration reform, we deserve racial justice, racial economical justice, and immigrants justice.
Hablaré un poco sobre mí, ya que tengo trabajando en McDonald's 16 años. He sido madre soltera con 4 hijas y mi vida no ha sido nada fácil, pero seguiré aquí luchando por un trabajo justo, horas justas y un salario justo.
I'm here because I'm here fighting for my family, for my kids. I'm not single mom. I've been working at McDonald's for 60 years. My life, it hasn't been easy, but I'm here standing today because we deserve to have a decent wages, and I'll be here until we win.
Día tras día, los trabajadores que somos reconocidos por nuestro audio y trabajo hacemos que McDonald's y otras corporaciones condicionadas tengan de miles de millones de ganancias.
Day after day, workers like myself, we have not been recognized. We have been working, and we are making millions and millions of dollars for McDonald's with our bags, and we don't see and we deserve decent wages.
Nuestras familias no deberían de vivir en pobreza. Necesitamos más. Nuestros hijos necesitan más. Si las grandes corporaciones fueran responsables, tendríamos una mejor calidad de vida.
Our families they don't deserve to remain in poverty, living in poverty. We need more. Our kids deserve to have better life. If corporations like McDonald's will be paying decent wages, we won't be living in poverty.
Es nuestro derecho que se nos paguen un salario digno para que podamos cuidar a nuestras familias.
We deserve to get paid decent wages that we can get our families out of poverty.
Es nuestro derecho formar un sindicato para poder tener 8 horas de jornada regular.
It's our right to have a union rights. That way we can have 8 hours working per day, like an 8-hour shift.
También exigimos respeto y dignidad como estadounidenses y como inmigrantes y como trabajadores.
We deserve respect as immigrants, as a USA citizen, as workers. We need respect wherever we work.
Nuestra lucha no termina hasta que obtengamos lo que merecemos y seguiremos luchando hasta obtener para ganar.
Our fight doesn't stop until we win, until we get what we deserve.
Sigamos demostrando nuestros derechos y organizamos y hacer que escuchen nuestras voces y exigir y recibir nuestras 15 horas y derechos sindicales.
We will continue organizing until we get our union rights, until our voices can be heard, and we can get $15 per hour and union rights. ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! Y tenemos que seguir luchando aquí en esta área para todos los trabajadores, y aquí tenemos que luchar porque todos tenemos que ser dignos y ser respetados en cualquier trabajo.
Brothers and sisters, can I get everyone's attention? It's May Day. The labor movement's here, right? The labor movement's here, right? We support low-wage workers, right? We support one another, right? Brothers and sisters, we had a musician up here earlier. I want to just make sure that we give a round of applause for our musician from Honduras, Carlo Lara. We do a lot of work in community, from the Team Stars to the USCW to the laborers to SEIU to every union that's here. I saw someone from, a couple of folks from the UAW here. We work with our partners across the community, especially and including the immigrant community. The labor movement is a movement of immigrants, right? Immigrants are under attack like they have never before been, right? It's important that we have partnerships because we support immigrant rights and immigrant right workers support us. One of the groups that we partner with every day, that we partner with on May Day, but partner with throughout the year, is the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. And an activist from that movement who's their executive director, I'm going to bring up now to address us, Lawrence Benito.
Thanks, Bob. I just want to say, as a proud Filipino American, it was great to see my brother from the Philippines get honored. My brother. So we heard a little bit of history. Back in the 1880s, workers from throughout Chicago would come here to Haymarket Square to rally and protest for better conditions. Many of these workers were immigrants from Germany, from Ireland, and from Southern and Eastern Europe, doing back-breaking work in places like meatpacking plants, and steel mills, and coal mines, and rail yards. These workers stood together to call for a 40-hour work week, safer workplaces, better wages, and respect from their bosses. We stand here today, more than 130 years later, and the struggle for workers' rights and immigrant rights continues. We live in a time when the White House and the federal government are openly hostile towards people coming to the United States, seeking nothing more than a safe place to live and a decent job to support ourselves and our families. Immigrant workers are being demonized, dehumanized, detained, and deported. As it tries to whip up fear among its supporters, this administration is terrorizing immigrant families and communities and places where they work. We all need to stand together to say that immigrant rights are worker rights, are human rights. We need to stand up against those who seek to divide, to denigrate, to disempower us, and to fight for the dignity and respect for all workers and all families. We need to push for better wages and working conditions for healthcare workers, hotel workers, fast food workers, teachers, and others who are keeping our economy and community thriving. We need to pass local and state policies that welcome immigrants and refuse cooperation with the deportation machine. And we need to push back hard against the constant attacks of federal policies that try to break up our families and divide our country further. So on this May Day, let's recommit to standing in solidarity with each other and working toward a better future for all our families and communities. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, we don't have to make this country great again because this country was already great, right? And we need to have a broad tent. We need to have as many people fighting with us as possible, right? And that's what May Day is about. It's about having workers' rights and community rights and people's rights all across this city, right? You just heard Lawrence talk about it. And we have some of the strongest unions of immigrant rights folks in this whole country. You know, I bought my daughter a book a few years ago called Si Se Puede. You guys were all chanting that. And that book was about a strike in Los Angeles that was called Justice for Janitors. And that's a campaign that's occurred all across this country. And it's so powerful when service workers in any major city are willing to walk out to fight for their rights, because they're not just fighting for their rights, they're fighting for their families' rights, they're fighting for their communities' rights. And that's what we're all about, right? Our next speaker comes from the union that brought us that strike, Justice for Janitors, that campaign that went across this whole country, including right here in Chicago. One of the strongest unions in the city of Chicago, SEIU Local 1, their Secretary-Treasurer, Laura Garza.
Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Buenas tardes, hermanos y hermanas.
listos para marchar? Are you ready to march? I know I'm ready. Brothers and sisters, it's great to be here today on May Day to continue our fight to empower our immigrant brothers and sisters because our communities are under attack from people in power and their extremist, racist, and greedy agenda. And we know that, that's right? Together, we're facing President Trump's deportation forces that's tearing apart immigrant families, the ability to join together in strong unions to raise wages, our ability to gain and keep quality, affordable health care, and the rollback of progress made on the criminal justice reform and environmental protections. Congressional Republicans pretend to care about dreamers and immigrant families, but they don't. But actions speak louder than words, don't they? Don't actions speak louder than words? By the end of next year, the Trump administration will have moved more than 1 million people with DACA and ending DACA and TPS, people that had legal status to undocumented status. And yet, the Republicans who could control Congress have done absolutely nothing. On May Day, immigrants and all working people united across racial, economic, and other lines to fight back hatred, racism, and bigotry, to call on all Americans to stand up for protections of all of our communities. Brothers and sisters, now more than ever, we must stand with immigrants, stand with dreamers, stand with TPS holders, and stand with our Black communities, stand with Muslims, Americans, stand with refugees, stand with all workers who are fighting for 15 in the union. Are you ready to stand with us? Yes! We are in the middle of this fight, and this is not the end. We will continue to fight to protect immigrant communities across the country. We're on the right side of history, and we will never forget that. Brothers and sisters, are you ready to march? Yes! Are you ready to go to the Thompson Center? Yes! When we fight, yes! We win. When we fight, yes! Si se puede, brothers and sisters. Bob, you ready to have us march?
So are some of you here to march? So as you get ready to march, we're going to have, from the Illinois Education Association, Dave Rathke come up and lead us in Solidarity Forever.
And on 3, 1, 2, 3. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. For what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel can turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies, magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union. One more time. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Play ball!